Hello, this is Lance Cleveland. Today I'm going to go over what the new updates are in the Premiere add-on version 4.7. That's our second release for the month of November for Premiere subscribers. Now the Premiere plugin is only available to active Premiere subscription holders, so if you have an active subscription you'll be able to download the latest version of the plugin and get these features I'm about to show you. So in version 4.7 of the Premiere add-on, one of the biggest changes to this is the ability to interact with the results here on the side of the map. So you can see here I've got my standard map in place. This is using a big map theme, which I'll put out in production when it's ready. And you can see that when I click on these, it is moving the map, dropping the icon and changing it to show the active location, and then putting a label of the name underneath that. Those are all settings that are done now inside of the Premiere add-on pack just by changing a few settings. So I'll show you those settings in a moment. And this is something that requires the Store Locator Plus 4.7 update that was released earlier today. So if you're going to upgrade to Premiere plugin version 4.7, make sure you have upgraded Store Locator Plus to version 4.7 as well. So the way I do this is under version 4.7 is I can go to the Experience tab, and in the Experience tab under Results you'll see a new section called Results Interaction. By the way, you'll also notice that there are accordion tabs here. These groups are accordion groups from jQuery. That was added in Premiere add-on 4.7 because the stack of settings was getting fairly long. So now you can expand and collapse them as you just saw there. So anyway, so here are all the things that are making that happen. The Animate Marker determines how that marker behaves when you click on a result, and default is none, or it doesn't do any animation whatsoever. You can bounce it or drop it. The label marker is what goes underneath that marker when you click on a location. The default is not to show a marker. The default, unless you have the Experience add-on, is to show an info bubble. You can actually disable that with the Experience add-on, which is what I did in that demo you just saw. And then use this label marker instead, which is just simple text of the store name. The other option that panned the map to put the marker in the center of the viewport is this map movement. The default is stationary, meaning the map will not move. It'll still do the other things here, but it won't pan the map. And then the marker icon behavior. You can leave that marker. It can just redrop the marker icon that's already on the map for that location. If you have categories, with Power Add-on, it will use the category marker or the default marker, whatever you have set, it will leave that in place. You can override it only for the active marker here. You can just pick any new marker that's here or put in your own. And that is the one that will be used only when that location's active. If you leave this set to as is, then that won't change. If you use the active marker icon, it will change to the marker you select here only when the location is clicked. As soon as you click a new location, it will put it back to however it was. So that is what that does there. So another setting that has been added in Premiere 4.7 is the ability to control the clusters a little bit better. In the past, the behavior of the clusters was defined, built into the JavaScript of the Premiere add-on. So now the setting for enabling cluster markers is underneath the map markers section. And you'll see down here, enable clusters. Now you can set the default size. That means how close are the other locations before they cluster together and form a single marker. The default is 60. If you go to 30, that means the locations have to be a lot closer together to form a cluster, or 90, they need to be further apart. You'll see the help over here to guide you with that. And then how many locations? The default used to be 2, it's now 3. How many locations have to be next to each other to form a cluster? You can also change that using the settings here, and those are two things that are now exposed through the admin interface without you having to hack up your JavaScript code. So I'm going to employ the clusters. Clusters and the result interaction can be a little bit unusual sometimes just because of the way the clusters have to break apart and reform. That might need further tailoring, so you may want to play with that and see how it behaves before you turn on all the results interaction. So let's go visit the site. You can see the clusters. And there's our clusters again right here. And you can do interaction. You can see it's dropping that pin, but it doesn't change the cluster account within the clusters. So the other features of clusters still remain the same. You click on a cluster, breaks it apart, and when you zoom out or zoom in, it will form new clusters and so on. The other thing is it will not automatically re-zoom in or out when you click with the results interaction. The clusters and results interaction are fairly exclusive features. So those are the updates to Premiere 4.7. A lot going on. The biggest thing is the ability to have interaction of the results, play with the map dynamically, and that's something we'll probably expand in future releases of the Premiere add-on. And a little more control over cluster map markers. As always, thank you for your support of Store Locator Plus. If you have any questions, please post in the forums or email us directly, and we'll answer your questions as quickly as possible. Thank you.